I'm glad you guys got turned up this weekend. The Detroit Lions won 37-30.
They did.
They had multiple
Beat
chances
the Green
to
Bay
lose that
Packers. Hell of a way to end the season. Amon-Ra St. Brown back-to-back 100-yard games. Got on the score sheet again.
Just shy of 1,000.
I believe 6 touchdown in 6 games. Hell of a way to end the season. I gotta say, before we get into the game, we have all off season to talk about the draft.
Yeah.
Who's the new OC, etc., etc. But I just want to say on this beautiful Monday morning, January 10th, 2022, Dan Campbell, I have no issue if you decide to keep the play calling duties. Now, how involved Ben Johnson is, Deuce Staley, etc., that information isn't too public right now.
Yeah.
And I do want to find out more. Having said that, I have no problem with a head coach who's already made the decision to take away play calling from the OC to now say, you know what? No, I got this. I don't mind that. I actually like it. But let's get into the game. Aaron Rodgers didn't play in the second half, obviously. Jordan Love, who generously gave the Detroit Lions the ball twice in the fourth quarter. That was fantastic. Look, the team played good football. Now, it may have been against the reserves, sure, but that's not the point. Not the point. Imagine if they had played awful against the reserves. It is not a good look. I am glad they did what they were supposed to do. They gave you the second half, they put in the backup, and you dominated the second half. That's what you do. Good job. I like that. I have no problem with it. Jared Goff, he looked kind of decent. The running game, effective. The wide receivers, dynamic. The play calling, hilarious at times. And I don't mean that in a joking way. I mean it in like in an absolutely good way. Some of the plays they are able to pull off are beyond me.
Yeah.
Now, the 4th and 13. I know everybody's saying he should have caught it. But guys, what honestly are the actual odds of converting on 4th and 13?
Yeah, I know.
And not only 4th and 13 at your own 35. And you're giving Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers the ball at the 35. Now, you did stop them. You did. Absolutely. Total momentum-changing moment. Mm-hmm. But when you're playing with those odds and those risks over a course of the year, they balance out. You don't believe me? Ask Brandon Staley. Ask Brandon Staley. He's not sitting at home. 9-8. Hell of a team. Hell of a roster. Hyper-aggressive, just like Dan Campbell is in terms of play calling. And you know what? You look back at their season and say, you know what? I wish I had some of those back. Now, again, you're the Lions. You weren't punished for it. You were able to sack Aaron Rodgers on 3rd down, I believe, get him out of field goal range. Love it. Great answer. But Jesus Christ. That's football now? In today's game? That's football. I don't know. Look, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes with Ben Johnson, guys. I wish I could show or tell you. But what I can tell you is if Ben Johnson is the mastermind behind it, which it sounds like he is, well, then he should either be OC or his role is upgraded.
Yeah.
And Dan Campbell continues to call plays, but he's the passing game coordinator or just in general.
Right.
The guy that's helping put together the game plan. But Sunday was a good win. I had no problem with it. Yes, the Jaguars won. Yes, you could have. Who cares? Is the first overall pick better than the second overall pick? Yes, it is. That is a fact. Does it matter that you're picking first or second this year? No, it doesn't. So I have no problem with them going out and winning. And really looking good and dynamic on offense. Now the defense, again. We all pointed to the defense all year as the part of the team that got significantly better, even though they were so undermanned. You saw them keep their teams in football games throughout the whole season. I believe the record was if you had won all the games, or if you had scored 20 points in all your games, you would have had a winning record by week 9 or 10, I believe. Isn't that funny? The defense did overachieve, absolutely. But I feel like the story of this whole team all year was week-to-week growth. They got more professional. They got more dynamic on offense. The defense did its job early on in the year, and the offense kind of picked up the slack as the season went on. Dan Campbell, when he made the decision to take over play calling from Anthony Lynn, you saw the team, not only the team, Amon-Ra St. Brown, flourish after that decision was made. So, overall, they're a 3-13-1 team, sure. Absolutely. But I think you go into the offseason with, okay, talent is there. You can see it. The coaching staff showed you enough. Now, with 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and an entire offseason, this should be a damn near 7 win team next year. At the minimum, given their schedule and how friendly it is. Mm-hmm. Watch out. Now, here comes expectations. Year 1, 0 expectations. Now there's expectations. Now on 4th and 13, when you're 4 and 2, and playing a divisional game, and you're at your own 35, and you want to call the fake punt, I want to see it again. I said it earlier in the year. If you make the same calls you're making now, when you actually have a good roster, I can support that because that's your method. I don't have to agree with it, but if that's how you coach, go for it. You have to do what you do. Not what I'm telling you to do, not what anyone tells you to do. You have to focus and do what you're doing. But if we're aggressive now because we have nothing to lose, but when the team becomes somewhat relevant, well, we're going to scale back how aggressive we are, that doesn't make sense to me. Well, then you're practicing and you're, in theory, doing things on the field that aren't translating to when you want to win football games. That's why the win in Arizona was so big for me. Minnesota, I didn't think much of it. Arizona, I saw it. Made sense. How are you going to win a football game in the future? Okay. Time of possession. Pound the rock. Ability to set up third and manageable. I like that. So yeah, good win Sunday. I have no problem with it.
No, me either. And I was in attendance. I got to see the play calling up close, and that was the one thing I took away from the game. I mean, you saw the trick play, Tom Kennedy throwing a 75-yard touchdown to Khalif Raymond. You've seen the flea flicker Jared Goff threw, I believe to Amon-Ra. Oh no, Brock Wright. It was to Brock Wright for the touchdown. So you've seen the play calling, and that's what. Ever since the bye week, the Lions, I believe, are 3-5-1. So next year, the expectations of 6-7 wins. Very likely, and as you should have those expectations, as will I. But being there in attendance yesterday, watching Khalif Raymond and Amon-Ra St. Brown, 2 receivers go for over 100 yards, something we haven't seen in probably the last year or two. That's something I took out of it, the offense. You know, I could care less. They played the Packers second stringers, which is a very, very good point. I get it. But at the end of the day, you scored 37 points. That's what I took out of it. Offensively, they looked good. The players, young players made plays. Iffy looked good. Derek Barnes looked good. That's what you want to see, and this is what we expected. I mean, Tracy Walker leading the team in tackles. I think he had 13 tackles yesterday, played his ass off. That's what I'm taking from it. And Dan Campbell's ability to improve. You know, we critiqued him about 6 weeks ago. It was really where the heat was started coming in. Now, ever since then, you've seen it getting better as a play caller, getting better as a leader, getting better in terms of game planning. You know, beating the Arizona Cardinals, beating the Packers now. That's what you can take away, and I think it's a good culture builder. And I think I'm not going to sit here and say that the wins are going to carry into next year, because Terry Foster has always said wins don't carry over to next season, which is a very good point. But what does carry over is the culture and players buying in. Because one thing you don't want to happen in a rebuild is players buying out and players clocking out. And you've seen it, especially with the Jags, to a certain extent with other teams, with the Jets at times. With the Lions, they've never bought out. They've always bought in. And I think that's the thing you could take away. Once this team adds more talent, players are going to continue to play hard. And Jared Goff, over the last 5-6 weeks, has looked good. I mean, he's 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in his last 4 starts. His play has been improving. So that's what I look forward to, man. Next year, you've got a good offensive line. You got a quarterback who, is stable. You can have Jared Goff. So I'm not worried about, this draft they're going to have to hit, obviously, and we'll get to that. But in terms of ending the season, I thought they played great towards the end of the season. I mean, 3-5-1. Next year, 6-7 wins should be, expected at this point. Considering
progressional, I'm going to keep bringing up his name. Jim Schwartz.
Yeah.
He won 2 games his first year, 6 games his second year, 10 games his third year. If Dan Campbell takes that same route, or even similar, hell, he can do it next year and win 10. Who knows? But I do have to say, Dan Campbell, for all the things I have said about him, which you may not like, what I will say this morning is I don't think he's a complete loof.
He's not in over his head. That is a
Yeah, and I think he's grown. Now, do I like the fact that he's learning on the job? No, I don't.
yeah.
But you know what? This was a gone year anyways. And I really have to take that into consideration. And I have to be fair. A lot of this job is about being fair. Look, you're going to be right and you're going to be wrong. Things happen. Things change. And your opinion can change. And you know what? Going into the off season, I'm not saying Dan Campbell is the next Messiah or he's the greatest coach the Lions have ever hired. But what I am telling you is that he has shown growth throughout the year and he hasn't wavered from his aggressive play calling style, which I appreciate. You know why? Because I want my head coach of my football team to stick to his guns. I don't want him deviating from what has gotten him there eventually. At the end, I don't want to see it. So yes, is Dan Campbell different, odd, unique? Who knows what the word is for Dan Campbell? What I will say is between him and all the first-year head coaches, I think he's done better than, I want to say, more than half of them. David Culley, he's definitely better than him. Urban Meyer, definitely better than him.
They've beaten some good teams, too. I mean...
Yeah, I'm not even so caught up about who they beat. I've seen growth. That matters to me. I have seen growth. And when you're talking about a rebuild, if this team was in the gutter and looked awful, like Jacksonville did, you would have a very different sentiment about Dan Campbell, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And it's not about, oh, they fought. No. They looked like a good football team at times throughout the year when they shouldn't have, especially on defense. And then on offense, it turned around right after he took away play calling duties. Now, not immediately, but 2-3 weeks after, they started to look really good. And they got healthy on offense. That helps too. But still. So, yeah, guys. All the first-year head coaching hires. Brandon Staley, hell of a job. Nick Sirianni, hell of a job. Dan Campbell's got to be up there. Now, I know they're 3-13-1. But where I'm getting at is this guy took over an extremely difficult situation.
Yeah.
All right? And I got to be fair. I got to be fair this morning. And I think he's grown up and developed as the season has gone on. Now, is he a 10-win coach next year? I don't know. What I do know is that he has a way with words. People do care for him and do want to play for him, which I think is important. And more than that, he has shown the ability to grow and adapt and change his mindset. First year as a head coach, 6-7 games in, to relieve an OC of their duties, that takes true leadership. You want to talk about a real leader and what decision-making is? That. You want to sum up the whole Lions season? It's that right there. If you want me to judge Dan Campbell. The fact that he believed enough of himself and what his motto was and his system was, that he was willing to go against a veteran coordinator, relieve him of his duties, not lose the locker room, promote a younger man, and get better on offense. How do you guys expect me not to sit up here and say good things?
Yeah,
that is the definition of leadership in any company, any space you work in. When you make tough decisions that may not always make sense right away, but long term they play out, that for me is a sign of a leader.